Hello there, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, glad to have you. Today we're looking at this Dyson V6 Animal. The problem is, when I pull the trigger here, down at this end, we get no motion on this beater bar. Let's get into it. Whenever you're doing problem solving on a mechanical system like this, it's easiest to break it down to try to figure out where the problem is. In this case, we have a couple of options. We might have a problem up here where it's not sending power down to the attachment, or we might have a problem down here in the attachment. So the first thing we want to do is figure out, is the problem up here in the vacuum itself, or is it in the attachment? If we separate the attachment from the vacuum, you can see right here there are two pins. That's where power comes from the head unit down into this attachment. So the question is, are we actually getting power here? We could probe down in here with a multimeter or something along those lines, but the easiest way is to just take another attachment that has power, we'll plug it in and see if it works. It does. So we know that the problem is in this, not in the vacuum. So we've already reduced the problem in half. So let's take a look at this and see what we can figure out. Our next step is going to be to disassemble this unit. First step in disassembling is to unlock this. That comes off. Next, we're going to remove this on the end here. Just take a screwdriver, put it in there, turn it. This unit comes out. So inside this attachment, you can see we've got an electric motor that drives this beater bar. The question is this motor bad, or the wires coming from through here not connecting properly? First, let's take a look and see if the motor spins. It turns by hand easily, so we know it's not a bearing problem. So it's more likely to be electrical. Let's take a look if we pull the trigger if this turns. Interesting, it does turn. So we know the wiring is good, and in fact the motor itself is rotating. So the issue is, this motor isn't delivering enough power to overcome the friction to rotate this. The question now is why? The motor itself feels fine inside. I don't feel any rough spots. So we're going to take a look, see if we can hold on to it and turn it. Interesting. So the behavior is, when I give it some power, it adds torque to this, and I can hold it till it fails. Once it fails, the motor itself pauses, you can hear it, and then it continues to run, but this has no more power. What I assume is happening is when we pull the trigger, this attempts to rotate the beater bar, and then the beater bar for some reason doesn't rotate, and then the motor says, I'm going to give up and quit trying, and from that point on, it doesn't rotate, we just have vacuum. So the way this works is this beater bar comes in, it engages this, and pushes this direction here, and that's what gives it some friction to roll against, so that it's acting as a friction clutch. This roll pin must engage something down here in the end of this. You can see that cross-shaped thing right here. That's what that roll pin goes into. It uses 2 of the 4. Nothing in there looks broken. Just going to reassemble it real quick. See if that changes behavior. Okay, so now it's being driven. So it's a friction issue. There was something holding it up. Could be that it was just dirty. I'm going to clean back here. You can kind of see it there. Some hair and lint and things like that. I'm going to take this out, spray it out with compressed air, clean this completely out. And we'll see if it works any better when we put it back together. So I just went and sprayed this out with compressed air. The important thing is we want to make sure this rotates nice and freely, because that's what one end of the beater bar rotates on. Make sure this end spins nice and freely. The bearing is good there. That's fine. Reassemble it. And now we'll test it. It's got plenty of power, seems to be doing what it's supposed to do. So really, it just needed a good cleaning. That's it, another successful repair. Thanks for watching. Ouch.